tell you that.
Well, I think we're going to have to talk about paedophiles. This may or may not be where YouTube parts ways. I don't know. Spoke about this a little bit recently because I've been looking into it quite a lot, and the paedophile presence on Twitter. There's a lot of them. Twitter changed the rules after Tumblr basically didn't want them on there and changed the adult posting rules. A lot of them went to Twitter, and it has a large community. And Twitter removed a few, but then a psychologist wrote Twitter, naming a few other psychologists, saying, it's safer if they're allowed to come together and talk and support each other, etc., etc. Now, I know the knee-jerk reaction, and if anyone follows my Twitter account, you'll know I jerked my knee plenty the last couple of days, is to say, no, you're all vile, filthy animals. But we've got to look at this to see how this is happening, because it is important how this is happening. First of all, the main thing I get is that they don't really like the paedophile word very much. The dictionary definition of paedophile is somebody that's sexually attracted to children. Blanket phrase. You can find out where they got this activism idea from anyway. They've broken it down to that. That's not enough. They've done it into segments, but they also name themselves differently. So you'll have MAPs, minor attracted persons. NOMAPs, non-offending minor attracted persons. Pro-C maps, pro-contact maps. They're the ones that think they should be allowed to have contact with children. Now, I'm going to get more into that. By the way, we don't do trigger warnings on trigger warning, but this is going to get pretty grim, all right? So stay with me now. NOMAPs, non-offending minor attracted persons on Twitter, take great pains to point out that, although they are sexually attracted to children, it doesn't mean that they could ever hurt a child. It's a division within them. They're attracted, but they know they can't do it. They know they could never do it. They can't hurt them. They can't touch them. They couldn't bring themselves to ever harm a child. Now, I believe, because statistically you have to, those people do exist, because they are born like that, they are dealing with that, and there will be a great many of them if you look at statistics, although some of them are skewed, we'll get to that soon as well, that will never offend, could never offend, just they're attracted, but they know they can never act on it. They'll go and get therapy, which is made difficult sometimes, because in some territories, when you go for therapy, the therapist has to make it known that you're a paedophile, and you get the social stigma and everything else. So let's take it that these people are there. Some of them are virtuous and honest in coming out and saying, yes, I'm attracted to children, but no, I would never, ever touch one. I could never hurt anybody. Because they agree that, a child cannot consent to sex. Therefore, it's illegal, immoral, wrong. These people are out there. I believe I've conversed with a couple. I believe I've been quite unpleasant to a couple of them as well. But I believe they're out there, that they will be there. I'm not sure them congregating on a public platform is a great idea. But I'll get to more of why of that soon, because you might be saying that if these people do exist and they are non-offenders and they're never going to offend, what's the problem? Okay. Problem is, do you remember the other things I mentioned? Maps, pro-C maps. I've been reading the conversations. I've spoke to them in different ways to gauge the responses, how they do the arguments, how they put themselves forward. NOMAPs want acceptance. Not acceptance as in we understand and we're going to let you have sex with children. They just want people to accept that they have this attraction, that they're not going to act on it, and they're battling it every time, and we shouldn't demonize them and harass them and punish them for what's inside their head as long as they don't ever make it real. Put like that, it's the right thing, yeah? If you set aside everything else, it's the right thing. But then I start seeing all the other stuff and how they interact with each other. And you get the pro-contact paedophiles. And you watch their conversations, and they're quite careful around the rules because they are very well versed at being liars and being manipulative and oiling around things. I mean, so many of them do love baiting aunties. You, me, everybody else. They want to bait you. They're trying to push you, and they enjoy it. They enjoy it. Get a kick out of it. They'll come back with, well, you know, we have a right to exist, but what they're really doing is fucking with you. Many of these conversations I saw, they talk a lot about the age of consent. Not a great surprise, right? And I did see some people who claim to be NOMAPs shouting down the others. You know, they curse them out, they tell them they're wrong, it's impossible. But there's a lot of, well, we need to understand everyone's point of view. You see, pro-Cs believe contact's okay. And some pro-Cs say I would never hurt a child because it doesn't have to be painful. Really. They think it doesn't have to be damaging. And if you tell them, well, you know, physically it's damaging, they'll say, well, it doesn't have to be penetrative. These people are on Twitter too, talking about that. These people are talking about fucking kids on Twitter. A site that allows kids from 13 plus to be fucking on there. Now, some people might agree with some of the arguments made at me. You're one of the guys from Lively. You've got no morals. There's kids dying on Lively right now. Big difference. The people that caught that shit on film weren't putting it on Lively thinking, hey, we can all have a wank to this later. Every one of the paedophiles that made this argument jumped to something sexual within that. Some comparison between child porn and a video of a child dying on Lively or something terrible happening in a war zone. They jumped to a sexual correlation almost every single fucking time. Every single time. And they're on Twitter conversing about this. Trying to, you know, having conversations how the age of consent should be lowered because, you know, we're just restricting kids. Some kids can make a choice. They can't. And when I think that there are NOMAPs out there that are genuine, when I read what the maps and pro-C maps talk about on Twitter, and I see what they're doing, because you're not that fucking clever that people can't see right the fuck through what you're talking about. When I see that, how the fuck do I trust you? How do I know you're not fucking lying? Are you worth the risk? I get it, you're a human being, you're probably a decent person in every way, apart from the attraction inside your head. Those other ones aren't. They're fucking animals. They are vile fucking scum. They should not be allowed on a public platform to congregate. We had to beat that shit down in the 70s with the Pi movement here in the UK. You've got fucking Nambla or whatever's left of it in the States trying, and now they're on there and they're taking the plays from the TRA playbook, the trans activist playbook, turning themselves into victims, whilst having 2 and 3 and 4 accounts. Because, hate to break it to you guys, I'm not a rocket scientist, but after running reasonable sites for years, I look at patterns of posting. I look at the way you spell things, phrase things, things that you use. You don't have to be CSI fucking Miami to do it. It's not proof, but I know because your ego makes you respond to me and point out your earlier account. I spoke to one yesterday. I was very horrible to this person. And someone contacted me to say, oh, you know they're a kid. So I said, are you a child? No. Right. So I looked at the profile. I said, well, have you got minor in your profile? Now, in the profile it said minor, MAP, going through transition on hormone replacement therapy. So why does it say minor if you're not getting? Well, I am just a teenager. And if that's true, there's a confused teenager going through transition. And no one that's really stable goes through that. If you're offended, I don't give a fuck. You've got a problem. Transition's supposed to sort that, right? This incredibly turbulent time in their life. And they're hanging out with paedophiles on Twitter. And if I took that as read, all I could say to this person was, you've got to stop. You've got to stop. Go and talk to somebody else. But everybody knows everything, right? And it's immensely helpful to talk to other paedophiles on a platform where people post pictures of their children. And the thought that someone might look at a picture of your child and be aroused. We know it happens, right? We know they're out there. But to actively create a fucking environment that's safe for them, where they can skirt around the rules in such disgusting fucking ways. So do you know what, if you're watching this, because I know a couple said they might, if you are genuinely a NOMAP, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the struggle you must be going through. But you have to understand, I don't fucking care about you. I have no empathy beyond that. Because you're not worth the risk. You're just not. Because all of those other ones, they're not like you. And when you're on this platform too, going, well, we need to be out and not proud but brave and say what we are, with your fucking anime avatar and your shit made up name, no, you are glorifying it because you're trying to create a movement. I know that a lot of the maps are trying to get included and say LGBTQ. They don't want you. Nobody wants you. So if you are a non-offending paedophile, have a private forum. Make it safe so children can't be on there. Because you know that right now there's people in your community grooming fucking kids on that platform. And you're turning a blind fucking eye to it. Because, hey, we're all helping each other here. Maybe there'll be some mistakes. Every one of those mistakes is a kid being fucking hurt. Not a one of you is worth that. Not a fucking one of you is worth a single child's tear. As for the troll ones, you're just cunts. Yeah, I know what you're doing, that's fine. It gave me plenty of ammo for when we put this into something more structured later on, which we're going to be doing. But these people are out there with full permission and they want my empathy? How about this, fuckwit? Go about your life quietly. You go on being a NOMAP. You meet with other NOMAPs. You have private forums. You get through it. You don't touch kids. Good on you. See your life out. But every time you mix with that fucking scum, you're one of them. Tough shit. Now, some will come back. You've got to make sense. You've got to talk sense. I don't. Because it's emotional. Some of them said to me, oh, you're triggered now. Yeah. I'm big time fucking triggered by paedophiles. Because you fuck kids. You hurt children. And you have the gall to come on and say, but I just love children. Not in a good way, you don't. Because you say you love kids, but you talk about we could lower the age of consent because kids can like it too. You're a monster. You're a fucking monster. So every one of you NOMAPs that associates with these people, not some of the ones I've seen that just rage at them, you're probably doing better. But the rest that say we shouldn't have hatred towards the proceeds because it's just used against us, fuck you. You're a monster too. And all the allies, the people who say that they're not paedophiles, but they stick up for NOMAPs because NOMAPs are innocent. We've discussed that. These people do exist. Fine. But when I see you saying we should also listen to what the pro-C have got to say to prevent child abuse and things of that nature, fuck you. You're a monster too. You're one of them. End of. End of. Now, some of the other fallacies that I came across, they said, And by the way, some papers do back this up, psychological papers. Not everyone that watches child porn is a paedophile. Not everyone that has sex with children is a paedophile. Bollocks. I don't give a fuck how you work around it. If you have sex with a child or you watch child porn, you're a paedophile. If you're sexually aroused by children, you're a paedophile. What they've done is taken that, that rape is only about power and not about sex, when I think you'll find it's probably both. They've just shifted that to paedophilia. So it's about power. Is it? No, paedophiles. Paedophiles are sexually attracted to children. Rapists are sexually attracted to women. They rape them. Whether there's a power aspect there, they've got to be sexually attracted. They won't get hard. If you get hard over kids, paedophile. That's what you are, a fucking monster. Then some people actually had the gall to tell me child porn should be legalised, because then, because there's no point putting people in prison. No point putting people in prison for watching child porn. Victimless crime. Victimless crime. Should legalise it. I've got a better idea. We shouldn't legalise it. If you're caught with it, especially with thousands of fucking videos and pictures, you should do a full life term in prison. If you molest a child, full life term in prison, because I don't believe in the death penalty. We're going to be straight and not all this put you in the mince of bullshit. None of that. Full life term. No possibility of ever getting out. Now, you might come back and say, well, recidivism rates are very low for pedophiles. Don't fucking care. Do not give a fuck. Well, what about our lives and the fact? Don't care. Do not care. I would, if I had my way, and I don't, and it will never happen, every one of you on Twitter now, including many of the NOMAPs, because you can prove that you're safe, right? You can prove it. I'm sorry, you would be tagged. You would be under curfew and forced therapy. And it would take years for these therapists to watch you, analyse you, and they will decide how safe you are. The rest, never free again. It's just the way it is. You're not worth the risk. You're not that important. I agree.
We got genuine. It says here, Lee says, genuine question, but does giving them a platform mean they are easier to watch and track?
No, because they're all anonymous. The worst ones will be hopping around fucking Onion, Tor proxies and things like that. And no one appears to be watching them or tracking them, do they? How are they tracking them? Twitter's going to have encrypted chat soon.
Yeah, Twitter's not exactly the best thing for that.
Pedo fucking heaven. No, you see, the thing is, it's all good and we can track them, we can know what they're doing. They're on a public platform with kids. With the rules changed to make sure that they can talk about minor attracted person, because Twitter, being Silicon Valley types, listen to this psychologist, and you look at NOMAPs, because you've got to be fair and reasonable, and gone, those guys are fighting it. They don't offend. They probably do need groups so they can talk when you're having a bad day and things like that. Okay, fair enough. But the problem is all the other shit that comes in with it.
Hey man, I get groups. I could understand sorting it out through a psychologist, or something like that.
Not Twitter.
But why would you need to be on social media? Why? There's no reason to network.
Yeah, and also
there's no
all they're doing,
positive
they're ramping each other up on there. Make no mistake, kids are being groomed right fucking now on that platform. If I were a NOMAP, I would run 1,000,000 fucking miles from there. Because this shit will all backfire on you guys as well, by the way. I know you all think you're going to get acceptance. You should know that's not how it works. Tides are turning for a lot of things now. You will never be accepted by society. You need to deal with your shit on your own with a therapist or friends in a closed place, because society will never give a fuck about you. Now, I know some people are saying I'm not trying to normalise paedophilia, I'm trying to normalise attitudes towards paedophiles. It's already normalised. There is a very normalised attitude towards paedophiles, and it ain't going to change. You're just going to have to deal with your shit, because no one gives a fuck. You're just going to have to deal with it. And what I hate is, well, we're preventing abuse. Are you really preventing anything? Because when someone said to me, most people that abuse are family members, if you tagged every paedophile and all that, it wouldn't make that much difference. That much. Do you know what that much is? Children. Children's lives is that much. If you got to weigh it up, I know where I stand.
Boggio66 says that the US uses chemical castration.
I would volunteer for that if I was a paedophile.
If you were a legitimate NOMAP, then surely that's
even
essential.
though you might know you never will. Who's going to trust you?
Paul's not happy. He's
sorry, I've just got to answer Mr. Kelsey one. He says, "Do you not watch pedo hunting groups? Kids are being groomed on all platforms." Yes. I guess you kind of missed the point here. We know pedos are everywhere, but what we're seeing is a massively adopted social media platform creating an environment where they're more comfortable. That's the thing. I know pedos are on all platforms. Of course they are. They've been a part of society forever. You know? But there's a platform being created under the guise that it's doing some good. I think it's just going to backfire horribly on the NOMAP community at some point. Yeah. But if there's NOMAPs out there saying, well, we should have a dialogue with the pro-contact people, you're fucked as well then. That's just the way I see it. Sorry, Graham, you were...
No, you're all right.
I won't look at chat this time while you're trying to...
You're fine. Paul said that the issue is not so complicated. Why do we have to make up new labels like MAP and NOMAP?
Because what's the easiest way to gain acceptance? Is to break things down, make it more disparate, dissolve it, make some worse than others. And by the way, I wasn't joking about the judging my moral character. Every one of the paedophiles, yes, it's almost to a man, because they were predominantly male, used the same argument. They were coaching each other through DMs, some of them. I know because different ones were DMing me with exactly the same language. Basically, you're a terrible man because of Live League. And it's like, my only answer was, yeah, but at least I'm not a paedophile. There, I'm winning. I can't be morally judged by a paedophile. Sorry, you're fucking monsters. I can't.
Can we do that as a new shirt on Gear Press once it's going? Just not a pedo. Not a pedo.
Not a pedo.
Not a pedo.